So what are some things you should never have in your home office if you want to keep it ADHD friendly? I'm going to tell you about 17 of them. Number one, do not have broken furniture in your home office. You have that broken chair that's in the corner that you never fix. Someone comes over and you're like, hey, have a seat. And they go to sit in that chair. And you're like, whoa, that chair's broken. Do not sit there. Go and sit on the couch or somewhere else, but not there. So why do you have it in your home office? Go ahead and get rid of all that broken furniture. You just don't need it. It's not serving any purpose. It's just taking up space. And then what happens if you forget that it's broken? You go sit in it. So it's just gonna cause you issues. And here's the next thing. Don't keep those old computers. It's time to get rid of the Commodore 64 you have in the office you're just not using. That computer that has Windows 95 on it and you still have it there. You're not going to fix that. Go ahead, get rid of all that stuff, throw it away, donate it, whatever you have to do, but don't have it in your office because it's just gonna take up space. It's gonna make your office feel really cramped and it's not serving any purpose at all. And here's something else. Do not keep the cardboard boxes you have that are empty or even to have something in them in your home office. Whatever you have in there, take them out and get rid of the cardboard boxes, but they all just sit in a corner somewhere and you're just never taking them out, never getting rid of them. And they just sit there and make your home office look cluttered and you don't want that. So go ahead, break them down, take them to recycle or throw them away, whatever you have to do, but do not keep them in your home office. And here's a big one. All those different business cards you have that you're not using, you're never gonna use, someone gave them to you, you just forgot about them and you just discover them there, you put them on your desk and you never went through them again. If you're not using them, go ahead and get rid of them because all they do is they clutter up your desk and they just take up space. And you're just never going to go through and look at them and decide, okay, this is the one I actually want to keep. They have been sitting there for days or maybe months, so you don't need them and they're not very important, obviously, at that point. So go ahead, get rid of them, throw them in the trash, look through them and see, is there one that you've been looking for that you couldn't find and it's in that pile and now you have it, so you can actually call that person, but otherwise throw them all away. And something else to get rid of is all the different papers you don't need, all the different old bills that you just have on your desk that you haven't looked through, you haven't opened because you just didn't need them. You got into e-billing and you still get a paper bill for some reason. And so they just sit on your desk or they're just junk mail you never open, or they're old papers for old work that you need to do at the time, but you don't need them anymore. And they're all just taking up space on your desk. Go ahead, throw them all out. If they are important, then what you want to do is you want to go ahead and shred them, but make sure if you do that, that you do actually empty the shredder out at some point, right? Because you don't want the shred to get so full, you can't shred anything else. So the thing is, you do not want paper clutter on your desk. And this is one of the easiest things to get rid of. And also get rid of all the other general broken stuff you have in your office, things that you have there that you intended to fix at one time, but you never did. Or things that are just in your office that you know, hey, it's broke, I'm never going to use it, I just haven't got around to actually throwing it out. Go ahead, this is your opportunity to throw that thing out. You just don't want it in your home office. If it's something that you were intended to fix and you haven't fixed it in 90 days or 60 days, and you're not going to use it in the future because you went ahead and bought a new one, then that's a candidate for things to get thrown away and you don't want them in your home office. It's just going to take up space and you need that space in your home office because it just feels really weird and just uncomfortable. You walk in your office and it's full of clutter, and this can be one of those major things you have in there that takes up a lot of space. Maybe it's like a broken printer or computer or whatever, but it is time to get rid of all the other general broken stuff. And here's something to also check for. All the broken pens and pencils you may have, like their pencils just snapped, the eraser's falling off on them, they don't write good anymore, or you have a pen that just ran out of ink, or you're trying to write with it and the ink just keeps going in and out, so really it's just not useful anymore. And so what you want to do is you actually want to go ahead and get rid of all of those. You want to try and figure out which pens work, which pencils are still good. And here's something that definitely do. Get a handle on your cords. You don't want just random cords in your office that you don't know what they go to, for one, or you find these cords that just go to nothing, right? You have them and they're plugged in and they aren't plugged into anything. I've seen that before where I just try to find what is this for? What is it plugged into? And it's plugged into nothing. And then I have to go through and figure out, do I actually need this cord? And it may be I don't need it at all. The thing that I was using it for, I've gotten rid of already and I couldn't find the cord. But if I did need it, I went out and bought a new one anyway. So it's okay to go ahead and get rid of that one if you discover you need it later. The other thing is you might have broken cords that don't work at all and you just leave them plugged in or just leave them somewhere and you don't know which cords work and which ones don't work. So now you have to go through and test all the cords. If you have one that's broken, if you discover one that's broken, do not keep it. Throw it away. Don't put it in the junk drawer. Throw that cord away. You want to make sure that you just have working cords in your home office, especially when you're going to have cords for your computer and everything else as well. You don't need extra cords that don't have any function at all. And something else you need to be aware of, anything that you have just held on too long, like you just have realized I need it, I want to use it, or I want to fix it or whatever, and someday I'm actually going to use this thing because I bought it for this purpose. That purpose has just never come yet, but it may be that one day tomorrow where I'll use this thing. Probably not going to happen if you haven't used it yet, if it's not really important. If you just haven't found a place or anywhere that is just working or valuable to you at all, then go ahead, get rid of that thing. There are things that you just have held on to for too long, especially if it's old electronics or anything like that. That's also a candidate to go ahead and get rid of. Throw them away. You don't want to hold on to things forever and just be like, hey, I know, but what if I need it? What if someday I need that thing? Get rid of all that stuff if you haven't used it in the last 90 days and you don't see any way that you're going to use it in the next 90 days. And let's not leave this out. Anything that's actual trash, definitely get rid of. You don't want candy wrappers or food wrappers or whatever else, maybe paper that you don't need anymore, or just anything around that is trash in your office that you know it falls into the category of trash. Go ahead, pick that stuff up, put it in a bag and get it out of your office. You don't want that stuff there. Maybe it's not bothering you or bothering anybody, but it is time to get rid of any trash in your home office. Now, next, I'm going to go over things you want to actually go find a place for in your home rather than in your office. But first, if you're enjoying the content, go ahead and click the subscribe button for me. Now, the first thing that you want to make sure you find a place for are going to be books you are not currently reading in your office. If it's just a general book that you're not reading in there, that you don't need in there, that you've just had in there for a long time and you've never cracked it open at all, go ahead, make sure you find a place for it. Now, it could be in your office where you have a bookshelf, and that's fine. Just don't leave it on your desk. But also, if your bookshelf is in another room, go ahead and take it there. You want to find the proper place for it instead of on your desk in your office. You're trying to keep your desk as clear as a surface as possible so it doesn't look cluttered and it's easy to find whatever you want and whatever you need. So go ahead, take that book back to where it belongs. And something else you need to find a place for is all the different random items you might have in your office. A tumbler, a hat you're not wearing, a flashlight, whatever it is. Go ahead and find the proper place for those things. You don't want them in your office on your desk because they're just not serving purpose there. They're just cluttering up your desk. If you want to have the flashlight, find a drawer for it in your office if you really need it. But the tumbler, if you're not drinking out of it, go ahead and put it in the kitchen. Just find the correct place for whatever random items that you might have in your office right now that you know do not go in there. They're just on your desk because you haven't gone and taken them back to the place they need to be taken to, or you just don't have a place for them anywhere in your home. And then that's a problem too, because now you should actually go and find a place for it so that it is in the correct place, the correct area in your home instead of in your office. And here's something else. All those folders you have on your desk that you're not using, you don't know what's in them. You really have to go through them. Hey, I have to go through all these folders, figure out which one has a thing that I need in there. And instead, they're just on your desk like a pile this high, and you just are procrastinating going through them because the pile is so big. So go ahead, file them somewhere where they're not on your desk taking up space, because it's going to keep your desk more clear. And that's a very good thing when you're trying to find things in your office. So you want to make sure that you file them somewhere. Go get in a filing cabinet and just put them in different places where you know that you can actually find them later. Now, something I would suggest is actually getting colored folders of different colors and then putting things in there based on a color. Just colors that you recognize would mean something to you: red, blue, yellow, green, whatever color is going to be good for you, to make sure that, hey, I'm going to remember that color. Or as you're going through and doing this, where you organize your folders, generally you'll get used to which color means which thing. But it's going to make it a lot easier to, when you look in your filing cabinet and you're looking for something and you're like, okay, I need this folder. Okay, it's green color or whatever. Look for the green. Okay, I've got it, and pull it back out. Instead of having to go through 50 or 100 manila folders that are all the same color, and you're just having to look through them. And even if you have them labeled at the top, it still just takes you so much time to look through all of them. Instead, if you have these folders that are different colors, you're going to be able to look and visually find it really quickly, even if you have to look on the label on that folder anyway. And something else to pay attention to: anything that you just don't have a place for in your office, like you're looking around saying, you know, I want this in my office, but I have nowhere to put it, or it just doesn't fit at all anyway, because you have it there and you're just like, I have no idea why this is even here. So you want to take those things and find a place in your home, if you want to keep it, somewhere else. You want to look and see, hey, can I find a place somewhere in my home where I can keep this so it's not in my home office, and it's not cluttering up things on my desk or anything like that. So you take it and you find a place somewhere else. Now, in some situations, the best thing is to find a place in your home office and then move something out that you've been meaning to move out anyway to somewhere else in your home. And you move that thing and make space for this thing that you decided, hey, I want this in my home office. Just don't put it on your desk if you can help it. If you have somewhere else you want to store it or put it, maybe you have floating shelves that you can put it on there. Instead of having it on your desk, you want to keep your desk a clear surface. And now these are some items that you want to change. The excessive amount of pens and pencils in your office. You cannot possibly use, as one person, 5,000 ballpoint pens. You don't need them. I know they're on a good sale and all. I know that you just had to have it because it was like, okay, it's a great sale, but you don't need them. You have an excessive amount in your home office. So you either go store them somewhere or you give them away to somebody, but you only need a certain amount of pens and pencils in your home office. So go ahead and try to reduce them a lot if you have to, or reduce them a little, just so that you don't have as many. You just have what you need for maybe the next 2 weeks or a month. And then after that, you go to your surplus and pull out what you need and refill them. And also, I know you love them. I know you want them on your desk. All the knickknacks and accessories that you have that you're just like, hey, these are just so cool. But think about it. You're already going to have pictures of your family maybe on your desk or other things that you want on there. And all these different little knickknacks and things that you have on there that just don't serve a purpose at all. And you just have a lot of them on there. It's cool to have some, but just not a huge amount, because they are going to some point be clutter. And then you're going to have to figure out, why is my office so cluttered? Why is my desk so cluttered? It can be because you have just too many of them. So choose just the ones that you want, the ones that are your favorite, and then leave the other ones in another room somewhere, because you do not want them to take over your desk. You just want to have them there. So it's a kind of enjoyment just to look at them and have them in the presence there, but just not too many. Now, I do want to make sure I share this with you. I do have another video about simple hacks that can make your home office ADHD friendly. I think you should probably go and watch that video now, because I think it'll be really helpful to you. Go ahead and click on that and you can watch that right now.